Hello, my friends, and welcome. Welcome to our Turkey office. It was a heck of a trip getting over here and getting set up. We're still very much in the process. This computer doesn't even work now, but I'm running on a one computer setup and we're making things work. My mic, maybe my mic sounds different because I also don't have the right cords for it's a mess. But there was a new Inside Star Citizen this week, so we're gonna take a look at it as I get back into hopefully trying to cover things in due time. I know I'm late on this one, but hopefully I can give some context and maybe some different insights into what they're doing. I do want to look at first the videos that CIG's been putting out this year and how sparse they've been. This is Inside Star Citizen for Alpha 4.2, and if you look at the last Inside Star Citizen we got, it was for Alpha 4.1.1. Before that was the Dev Diary, and then before that was for Alpha 4.1. And then if you look at the next one before that, it was another Dev Diary. And then prior to that were the two for the Alpha 4.0 sandbox activities. And then I think that's it for this year. Yeah, besides that, we just had Behind the Ships. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Behind the Ships. And then trailers. And it's just... it really fits with the strategy they're hitting this year, which is release a lot of content, make the game more playable, and sell a lot of ships. They are really just trying to grind out until Squadron comes out, it seems. And it's unfortunate because even besides that, the Star Citizen lives haven't even really hit like they did prior to this. We've had some decent ones. The Invictus ship talk was good. Narrative was okay, a little confusing. Concept art talk was solid. Specifically the talk with Benoit was a pretty good one as well. Just gave us a lot of information on server meshing and back end. But if you look back a year ago, once again, at what we were getting at the same time, we did get two different Star Citizen lives for Invictus. And I know this year they did it in China. So we technically did still get two, but there was a lot of, I think, information missed on a wide scale because that was split up. But we also were getting big talks about 323 and beyond, big UI updates, big talks on cargo hangar elevators, stuff like that. These were all pretty substantial developer talks, and we've just seen a real decline in that happening this year, which has just been a bummer. But that's besides the point for today. Let's take a look at what they have released to us and see what kind of fun judgments we have to give. Oh, I think I've got this running slow.
Stormbreaker is all about taking the next.
One of the problems we have here, first of all, one of our graphics cards died, unfortunately. So 1080 Ti after 8 years is gone. I also don't have the right RAM for my computers. So I'm kind of just running off of one stick of 2133 megahertz RAM, and clearly it's not allowing this to run very well. So sorry guys, this is going to be a little lower quality in terms of what's on screen, but hopefully our commentary is still pretty good.
Making exploration work in Star Citizen actually requires you to go out and build locations that players want to visit. That's what we're doing now.
We were trying to push our FPS combat existing in-game and actually get players to feel like they're actually fighting for something.
I see where people are getting unhappy that they're bringing up exploration in this. They didn't need to. I see where he's coming from. As always, it's about the game in 5 years and where this will be in that overall lineup of things. And yeah, this will be a discovery through exploration, but for now, players aren't really going to think that because everything is like what's happening right now. I mean, a lot of people call these events, and they're not going anywhere. These are being built for the game for all the players who are not playing right now. For us, it was a little chaotic.
Stormbreaker is different because you don't go into your contract manager to look for what to do. You just go off, fly down to a planet, and you start exploring.
We wanted to...
You know, it's interesting, actually. I believe it was Nathan Dearsley. No, not Nathan Dearsley. Nate Man, lead narrative director. He said at one point, see if I can pull this up real quick. He did actually say one of the things they wanted to do was to start getting away from the Moby-Glass in terms of how you get missions. Yeah, here we go.
We're also looking to move missions away from the Moby-Glass whenever possible. Sure, it will always be an easy way for us to get additional game content in, but we want you talking with people. So,
or I guess finding locations, but they're trying to get in that direction.
Lead players from place to place and make them question what they're seeing.
So I want to be clear here. Stormbreaker isn't an event, and it's not a mission. It is a sandbox activity.
That is not getting through to a lot of people.
Will be.
Actually, I think it's getting through. I think it's just kind of being ignored. I don't think people care because everyone wants to play the game right now. And I also think there are complaints about the design side of things and how it doesn't really matter if these are sandbox activities because overall they don't work when a lot of players are interested. That's part of the problem that I think gets solved by Starkitect and what they want to do there, but it's just, like a lot of people just don't really have the faith right now that CIG is going to do that. They've got themselves into this position now where the engine has gotten far enough along where they can kind of work on the game, but the way they're working on the game is so disjointed and chaotic because of Squadron taking so much of the focus, features having stopped, not supporting the content they're building, that it's ruining, I think, a lot of people's confidence in how the game's coming together. Personally, I think a lot of other people love what's going on right now and are super hyped to see what's coming next. It's just, the natural dichotomy.
Persistent, it will keep happening. Every single patch you can come back and you can run this over and over and over again, just like you can the Align Mind sandbox activity.
It's not an event.
It still gets called an event everywhere.
This is a continuation of the Regen Crisis storyline. In 4.1, we saw how Rayari was trying to tackle the Regen Crisis.
In 4.2, we're starting to see what ASD, a faction called Associated Science and Development, is doing to address the regen crisis.
ASD is probably
What happened to our A story, man?
best publicly known for their weapons research division, which has released some high-tech weaponry that's already available to put on your ship. But they have many other research departments, and they're doing their part to help out with the current regen crisis and the Second Life initiative. They're diving into trying to fix the problem with imprints and regen. So it'll be interesting to see what solutions they propose. Now, over the years, ASD has gained a little bit of a reputation for maybe pushing things at
It's a fun kind of experiment whenever you just lighten up a rat for some reason. Oh, poor rats. I don't mean that. I take it back. I'm sorry. Rat viewer.
too far. One of their weapons was known for the particularly gruesome effect it had on people it was targeted on, which gained them a bit of a reputation across the Empire for maybe pushing science a little bit farther than they should.
I'd be interested in hearing from you guys in comments what you think of the factions and their backgrounds in this game. Somebody was saying to me on Reddit earlier that they just feel like everything's very one-dimensional. The factions don't really have much going on besides like just natural good bad guy or maybe a little twist here and there. I'd love to hear what you guys think, because I do think that it could be more complex, but I don't really blame them at not having a lot of that stuff going on in game just yet, since narrative's only really been on the job for about a year with the SC in any sort of serious way. Hopefully we do see this continue to progress and get more complex.
Stormbreaker will start with these data facilities that you will find on Pyro 4.
This is where ASD is storing a lot of their data, so you'll find a bunch of servers, and this is actively being guarded by security forces, which means you gotta land your ship
Actively.
somewhere where it's safe, and then make your way down on foot.
ASD does not want you there. They will be quite upset that you're trespassing.
So if you want to explore the facility, you'll have to fight your way in.
See, now it's interesting because this is the kind of thing that if you wanted to do this sort of mission in Stanzin, a lot of times you'd find yourself getting a crime stack because you'd have to go do like a microtech distribution center or something in order to find a lot of FPS targets around without doing technically unlawful stuff. This does give players the option of going in a rather unlawful format in a situation that's not going to get them in trouble. And honestly, maybe doesn't make you feel morally wrong either, depending on what they're doing inside here. But it is in Pyro. And many people just don't want to deal with having to go through Pyro to get to some gameplay.
You'll find...
But that's why they can then put different kinds of rewards here. Like, you need this in Stanton too, right? And you get different rewards for the one in Stanton that you would get from here. This should be different also from what you get in contested zones or the Hathor locations. And hopefully they can start to dial in the looting a little bit more with that, or the loot pool.
Quite a few places in the facility that aren't that easy to get into.
As you explore as a player, you will encounter a new type of door access, the loaded scanner. You will need to kill the enemies in the area to try to pass as one of them wearing their outfit. It is just a simple door, but with this new mechanic, you can feel like Indiana dressing as the enemies and go inside the enemy lines.
Access granted.
It's a very simple detail, and it's obviously not like stealing a keycard and getting credentials, which is what we've seen from Hathor. This is yet another security gate that they can use across a whole bunch of different scenarios. One that they actually kind of used in CitizenCon 2019. So this will be useful. I see this as a feature edition, to be honest, and it's one that they're not really advertising as a feature edition, but this could change a lot of different contracts and missions going forward.
As you explore deeper into the facility, if you pay attention to your environment, you'll notice a number of different places and rooms that require a bit of extra effort to get into.
There will be unique loot, and the more of the facility guards you relieve of the ability to go home and say goodnight to their children, you will slowly find the first piece of the puzzle that you'll need to finish this entire loop.
Dude, did the sandworms get to say goodnight to their children?
So if you discover the secrets that we've hidden and you've taken care of the environment, you've found the information, you've read through the information, you've listened to the information, you might find that your journey takes you to Pyro 1.
Once you arrive at Pyro 1, there's one thing you'll immediately notice. A huge storm.
Okay. Do you actually naturally find out about Pyro 1?
You find that your journey takes you to Pyro 1.
Once you arrive at Pyro 1, there's one
there?
thing you'll immediately notice. A huge storm.
It is just mind-blowing. It looks beautiful. There will be rain. You've got this very dark environment because of this overhanging cloud. You've got lightning just constantly going off inside the clouds. It looks phenomenal.
If you were to fly into the storm, you'll notice that your ship starts taking massive amounts of distortion damage. If you don't watch out, this can seriously mess up your ship.
It'll cause it to turn off, and you will plummet to the ground. If you don't explode, out of luck, you then have to walk out of the storm.
This is also a feature edition. This is actually kind of a big deal. The weather is growing dynamic, but they're also incorporating limits on ships, which will empower vehicles. Maybe not in this event, but it has long been said that weather will be one of the ways they would limit where ships can fly. And hopefully this does lead to some more varied gameplay in different places.
You'll quickly notice that you'll be affected by radiation damage.
So unless you've brought a load of rad pens, you're likely gonna die. And that's not even to say anything that might be in the storm that has mutated and isn't the normal version of what it once was.
So how do you get into the storm where ASD doesn't want you to go? On the outer edges of the storm, you'll find 3 shuttle stations that each have a shuttle that lead into the storm.
Once again, ASD don't want you there, so you'll have to part people with their lives.
These shuttles are specially retrofitted to allow them to withstand the distortion damage, allowing employees and also players into the storm.
Look at that special anti-radiation armor on that Crusader shuttle.
We've made sure the roof is glass. It's using the old Crusader shuttles, so you can actually appreciate
Literally, I just waited a couple seconds.
Of the beauty of the storm.
This is where some of the weather system improvements come in that we've been working on, where you'll see rain hitting the windshield, lightning outside, and thunder in the distance.
And also, you get a little bit of respite before the shit we're gonna put you through. So it's kind of like a nice, like, oh, look at this, and then you're gonna...
This is one of the harshest parts of this whole event, though. If you haven't heard, Star Citizen players can be a little violent. And this is a place where, like he's saying, you're supposed to sit back and kind of just get to where you need to go, but people go a little wild because that's just what players do. And they'll have to find ways to separate players, but also have some sort of reputation repercussions in terms of the local gangs and factions that help to limit that kind of stuff. But mainly, they just got to figure out how to separate and limit players in different ways.
Land on the beaches of Normandy, D-Day style. Here we go.
When you get off the shuttle, everything's gonna try to kill you.
You'll be immediately assaulted by loads of security guards outside.
It is very dark. The visibility is very low.
You'll start being affected by the radiation damage from the storm. If you do manage to get a radiation suit, you'll still find irradiated wildlife for you to contend with.
So just watch your back, watch your
Super
friend's
friendly.
back.
Your objective
This is the next sandworm, the adult Valacar.
is to get inside as quickly as possible into the relative safety of the research base.
Once you're inside this facility, that's where Stormbreaker really begins.
All that stuff that you've done to get there, that was purely the beginning. It's the intro scene in the movie. You've not even hit the movie yet.
Inside, you'll find danger, mystery, great loot,
Death, action, cruelty.
audio logs, finally an alternative to reading,
That's good.
Here we go.
new ways to open doors,
Taking me back to Covalence.
which doesn't seem exciting, but we really are excited about it.
I'm really excited to see you playing with this new mechanic.
You're gonna find irradiated things.
Eggs, babies, screaming,
They might all be connected.
the horrors of science run amok.
You can find new battle vehicles that can only be earned in game.
Just get Jared. Get Jared on camera for that one. He loves that sound
It's a
effect.
choo-choo as well. This isn't a fucking train. It's got massive weapons. He's
No, you just can't. You're just like,
There you see? What did I say? There he is.
it's cool.
yeah, it's cool. He's got the acting qualification. I don't.
I want players to feel something different to what they've been feeling when playing Star Citizens. I want them to be hyped for every bit of the mystery that they are trying to discover and all of the clues that they get right.
I think it's going to be an amazing patch. We've all been working very, very hard.
We've got VFX, lighting, audio, all of that is coming together to create the biggest, baddest content that you've seen in Star Citizen so far.
It's going to be cinema, as Zach would say. I'm really excited for you all to play it. I'm really excited to see you all discover it.
And the story doesn't end here. It really gets messed up in August.
It's really cool. I want to tell you everything.
So stop watching the video and go play the game.
Yeah, go play the game.
Certainly interesting.
Now, of course, for those of you that have been playing or watching PTU for the last week, you already know much of what's not being said here. But that's by design. As we said back in February, it's our intention this year to have you discover as much as possible in-game through our monthly patches instead of having everything just spoiled here. And by the time Stormbreaker releases in about 2 weeks, there should still be a few more changes and improvements along the way. Oh, also, special shout out to Louis, Max, and everyone on the Montreal Environment team for kicking all kinds of ass on this one. And don't forget, we're currently taking submissions for this year's CitizenCon watch parties, where we'll send devs to watch the program alongside of you, and they have to submit to your every question. Mostly. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. Thanks for letting us share the people and process of game development with you, and we'll see you all here next week for Star Citizen Live.
I've gotta check what that. Oh,
Here we go.
I gotta check what that watch party thing is about. We are hosting a watch party ourselves, and I love asking devs questions if they're willing to answer. This is an interesting one. The Inside Star Citizen is just a trailer for the update. And you know, these updates, I was saying in the beginning, they're sandbox activities. Elliot obviously had his spiel about it. They feel a little bit like their narrative mission runs too, like little packaged narrative missions that you're supposed to hear about and find. This one's called Stormbreaker. The other one's called A Line in Mine. And these will just exist alongside other themed narrative activities. It's also interesting because they're theming updates. And I always wanted them to theme updates in the sense of like, this is our mining update. Here are the features and content coming with mining. And I think we're getting there. We just don't have features right now. And that's what's really killing everybody. Is like, sure, you can keep putting this kind of content out. And not killing everybody. It's killing some people. Sure, you can put this sort of content out. But as we keep getting that same content, we notice the things that make it difficult to take part in these events. Dang it. There I go. I called it. And if we're not getting new features to handle those problems, then for a lot of people, it feels like they are just stacking broken design on top of an unfunctioning game. And I think that they are under the impression that this stuff will be solved by the features they can develop, and just haven't yet because Squadron 42 is taking all that. So they're in this like really weird place of building a game without having the full, like we said in the beginning, they have the tools to build a game, but that game is still missing a lot of features that they need. I hope they can get back to feature development soon. I hope we can see more of the EPU. I hope you got something out of this little reaction and watch through. Thank you for joining me for this weird setup. I promise things are going to get back to normal real soon. But I'll see you guys in the next one.